Hello then, and welcome to Simply Race for round 2 of the Simply Race Stock Car Championship live here at Simply Race. My name's Callum Cripps and we'll be taking you through the 10-minute qualifying and 45-minute race in these very similar to Euro NASCAR style Xfinity Euro NASCARs. So basically today we're at Brands Hatch Indy circuit, so very tight, very twisty, quite short as well, so only a 47-second lap or so, but the drivers will have to negotiate a 45-minute race where they'll have to do fuel and tyre wear as well, so it'll be very, very interesting to see how the drivers implement those tactics into the race itself and see how they manage their fuel and tyre wear. They will definitely have to make a stop. The fuel's just about marginal. But they will have to make a stop and potentially change tyres as well. So it's going to be very interesting. We've got 13 drivers on the grid for today, some Euro NASCAR drivers as well. Scott Jeffs and Alex Sedgwick joining us from Brax Racing. Those guys will be racing in Elite 1 and Elite 2 this year for Brax. So it's going to be very interesting to see how those guys get on. So everybody's in the pods now, ready for qualifying. So we'll be joining you live in the commentary box soon, where we'll have all the action waiting for you. Okay then, so welcome back to qualifying for round 2 of the Simply Race Stock Car Championship. My name's Callum Cripps and we'll be bringing you through the 10-minute qualifying 45-minute race here at the Simply Race facility in Milton Keynes. So hopefully you can hear me now a tiny bit better, just changing my mic. But yeah, so we're just getting into qualifying then for the moment. As you can see, the cars are out on track. We're watching pod number 14 at the moment. You can tell what number the pod is by the number on the side of the car. A nice pink livery on this one, very nicely designed by Mike Yao, our favourite. Did you design it? Are you sure? Oh well, we'll give him credit anyway. So then we're watching actually Scott Jeffs, who's on track at the moment. So Scott's racing in Elite 2 this year for Euro NASCAR. So that's going to be very interesting to see how he gets on. He's just starting his first qualifying lap now, looking very, very tidy at the moment. So as he gets into turn 3, still looking very composed. You've got to drive these cars so gently to get the best out of them. As soon as you starting to overheat the rears slightly, then it's very, very tricky to control. But Scott's doing a great job for the moment. Onto the brakes then, and trying to just tiptoe round this last corner. A bit of a strange line through there, but it seems to work for him, and he's going to post a lap time potentially in the 47s. Let's have a look. Well, we've already got Sedgwick going quickest at the moment with a 47.2. So Scott Jeffs comes across the line of 49.6 at the moment then, so a bit of time still to come. We've also got Adam Owen popping in a time of 52.6. We've got pod number 9 going quite askew there. That's Dan Wren, so it's good to see the Wren boys back for another championship here at Simply Race. Unfortunately just getting a bit too eager, potentially on the throttle coming out of that last corner. We've also got pod number 8, that's Josh Valentine. Obviously we saw Josh compete in the USSC championship, the United States Sprint Cup championship that we had on a few months ago, and he did very, very well in that. So let's see if he can improve his skills in these NASCARs as well. So he's just coming up towards Druids and turn 2, bit too much on the brake and just overtook it slightly. We've also got car 10 having a bit of a skew-if as well. That's Rory Wren, so second of the Wren brothers, the youngest in fact. I think he's still only 14 or 15 years old, so Rory's still just getting the grips. It's the first time for him in these cars, so still finding them a tiny bit tricky, but doing all he can to try and keep it on the road. So Cedric then 46.1 from Cedric, so that's very, very, very quick. In fact, that's 7 tenths quicker than Ben Benning currently in second place, and then we've got Valentino Nicastro with a 47.1, so it's very, very close actually from the top. Well, from second to fifth, we're only covered by a few tenths a second actually, as Benny is going to go potentially slightly faster. We've got Srscc just rejoining the track as well after having a tiny bit of spin. It seems to keep himself composed, and he'll go on to another lap. So Jeff's currently 6th at the moment, so he has gone up into the 47s then. So it's still quite close. The mid-pack battle is going to be very interesting. We've got from 3rd place down to 8th, all covered by, well, down to 9th in fact, all covered by a second and a half at the moment. So very close for them guys in the middle pack. So then Scott just getting a tiny bit skewy on the curb, but again it all settled once again. So then as he goes onto the Astro as well, it's really, really slippy on that Astro turf, especially for these cars, and how powerful they are, especially out the corners. It can really light up the tyres, and it's very difficult to try and hold it all together. We've got car number 5 just using a bit more of the grass than potentially they would have liked there, but that's Jack Ashton then. I think he was runner-up for the Simply Race British Championships that we had last time out in the touring car races against Lewis Manley. So very, very tight indeed. I'm sure we'll see him back this year for another year of the touring cars, as he does a nice 180 for us at Paddock Hill. I'm not sure that was intentional, I'm pretty sure it wasn't, but just getting a bit too wide on the grass there on entry, and that cost him a tiny bit of time. So then it's still Cedric that leads with a 46.1 for the moment, with Ben Bennyworth with a 46.8. Only 2 lads to get into the 46s so far, which is pretty impressive actually. It's the same type of lap times as you get from the Euro NASCAR boys and the BTCC grid as well, so quite impressive to see. They don't actually look that fast on the screen compared to the touring cars, but they're doing the similar lap times. So then it's Jack just struggling. I think he's overheated his rear tyres a bit too much on that spin, and that's cost him this lap, I'm afraid, but hopefully he'll cool down and get going once again. Also, he gets very down the main straight. Not sure what happened there, Jack, but just being a bit too eager on the throttle. We're watching back with Scott Jeffson, who's doing the rounds at the moment, still in 6th place and not doing that great at the moment, to be honest. Everybody's spinning anyway. I think Ben Bennyworth on track at the moment is doing quite well, as we're watching him just off screen. Well, this is actually Peter Wren as well, so we'll watch Pete for the moment, then hooking up the inside curb quite nicely then, doing a good job through Druid, so good for him. And then down into turn 3, let's see if he can get it all sorted out through this corner, nice and smooth on the exit, using a tiny bit of AstroTurf, but getting away with it. Let's see how he does through turns 4 and 5 then into this Brands Indy circuit, onto the brakes, trying to just manage the car through there, gets it nicely done and accelerates out, so good job from Peter Wren there. Let's see if that's going to put him further up the leaderboard. So as he comes across the line, I'm not sure he improved that time around, and having a bit of a slide going through Paddock Hill, that looked quite good. It's just a nice frontal shot of the car going through there. These Camaros do look awesome as well. They've got to be said, based on Xfinity cars these are, but they do look awesome. So then who are we watching now? This is pod number 12, so this is Will Dendy then. It's good to see Will back from a long time out of the UK actually, so he's just returned from the UK and getting back into sim racing here at Simply Racing. He's doing quite well at the moment. He's up to 7th, so getting the hang of these cars. I had a quick chat with him after practice, and he did say they were very tricky but quite enjoyable, and he does like a challenge, does Will Dendy, so he's just going to come across the line now. I'm not sure if he's going to go any quicker. He does actually. He goes up to 4th, so good lap there from Will Dendy, and that's put him into the 46s. So we've got 4 drivers now in the 46s. We've got Cedric, Ashton, Ben Bennyworth and Will Dendy all in the 46s, and Valentine in fact as well, just 5 thousandths of a second in, but still into the 46s. Watching another car on track now, so this is Valentino Nicastro in the number 1 car. So he's done a good job at the moment. He's in 6th place, the only person, well, the only person outside the top, well, in the top 6 to not do a 46 just yet. So he's coming down into turn 1 then. Paddock Hill pretty much one of the hardest tracks in the UK, and got a tiny bit of road to do there, I think, but manages to correct it now. It was a lovely line, and hard on the brakes once again. These cars don't have brake lights either, which is one of the things that the drivers must look out for. So the only way you can really tell these cars are braking is when they dip going into the corners as the weight transfer goes to the front. Nicastro goes a slight bit wide on that lap, just coming out of turn 3. We're watching Colin Talbot as well in the number 4 car. Jack Ashton, sorry, in pod number 4. Sorry, just got me sheets mixed up then. So, what is it, Mike?
I was just going to say the list is not in numerical order.
Yeah, yeah. I was just waiting for that, but I got it now. It's all right. The number on the side of the car is what pod they're in, basically. That's it. Yeah, happy days. So, cheers, Mike.
Well, you're welcome. So, here to help.
As always. So then Mike's helping us out with all the broadcasting and all the trickery behind the scenes that you don't really see here on the live stream. So massive thanks to Mike for helping us out, and also a co-owner of Simply Race. So all the events and all the stuff that you see when you come into the venue is all pretty much arranged by Mike and Ben, the owners of Simply Race. So massive thanks for those guys for helping us out. As we get into the final few minutes of the qualifying session, then it's still Cedric on pole from Jack Ashton and Ben Bennyworth. Will Dendy is in 4th, so a good debut from him actually, up into 4th place. Josh Valentine as well. I think he's on his. I think this is his debut for this series as well, so it's great to see Josh running up to P5. We've also got Fantine and Nicastro in 6th, with Scott Jeffs in 7th and Colin Talbot in 8th. So everybody putting in pretty good laps now. We've also got a really good lap from Dan Renners, 47.8. So good from him. Qualifying is now over, and we're going to be back shortly with the 45-minute race for round 2 of the championship. So welcome back. Welcome to the comms box, where we're hidden away slightly in the Simply Reds Facility Centre. I'm joined by Mike Yao, who's my helpful man and guy that's working behind the scenes on the stream. So he'll be sitting beside me, giving us all the lovely pictures that you'll see on your screen at home or wherever you are, maybe in the UK or even abroad. So yeah, it's great. Thank you very much for letting us do this event in the first place, Mike. Obviously, it's a massive help for me. Just to give you an insight of kind of what this championship is about. So it's based lightly on the Euro NASCAR series, which I'm planning to compete in this year. And then as I've been coming down to Super Race, how long have we been open now? 4 years?
Yeah, so we had our 4th birthday, 30th of Jan.
Yeah, so it's been quite a ride, really, hasn't it? Of quite highs. We haven't really had many lows at all here at Simply Race. It's all been highs, to be honest. I can't believe how quickly it's gone either. It's gone mega quick, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's gone really quick. Yeah, so you've got some news, haven't you?
Yes, hopefully. I wasn't gonna spill it just yet, but there is some news coming up soon. Hopefully within the next week. So keep your eyes peeled on the Callum Cripps Racing Facebook page. If you haven't liked it already, like it, because I'll know about it. And have a look on Twitter. On Twitter and Instagram as well. It's just Callum J Cripps or Callum Cripps Racing. So yeah, keep an eye out for a very interesting post that hopefully should be coming within the next week or two. So we'll keep in tune for that. Apart from that, we've pretty much everybody's just being briefed at the moment, so we'll get into the race very, very soon. It's going to be a rolling start as well, just similar to what they will do in Euro NASCAR. So we're going to do one lap behind the safety car. Everybody's going to warm their tyres, hopefully not too much, and then they'll get into the race itself. So it's going to be very interesting, especially lap 1, turn 1 or turn 2 potentially. But hopefully everybody's been told to keep it as clean as possible. I'm sure they will do their absolute best.
How did you get on with a bit of practice earlier? Because you were testing the circuit.
I was testing, to be honest, and it's quite interesting. I think you have to go, especially the corners where you could potentially use first gear mainly turn 2. Druids. I think probably go second gear and try and save some fuel out of it as well. I think it also limits the wheel spin on exit. I think you do use second in the standard Euro NASCARs anyways because of the torque, because the engine's so torquey. So yeah, I mean, trying to save fuel is going to be a huge thing. We saw an epic battle last time when we did round 1 at Le Mans Bugatti circuit, where Jack Ashton pitted with, I think it was like 2 minutes to go. I thought he was going to make it, but he just didn't, and just didn't make it. So yeah, and Cedric ended up coming and winning the race because he pitted halfway through, and Jack didn't really know about it because he was a bit further ahead and didn't see see Alex coming into the pits. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Obviously, people are going to see each other a tiny bit more on this circuit because it is
smaller.
Absolutely, yeah, pretty much half the length of well, it's even probably more than less of half the length, but
yeah, it's
more than less of half the length. Half the length.
Half the length.
At least
of the
half the
circuits.
yeah. There we go. More than less of half the length. There we go. So, as brilliant. That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That's good commentary skills. That was.
You've got to keep it up.
Thank you. So, as Alex just texted me to say nice things about me. No.
You did.
I did
said
actually.
He won.
I just said it. Yeah, he's on pole anyway, so I've got to say nice things about him. But yeah, it's great to see those guys taking part as well. So we've got 2 actual Euro NASCAR drivers taking part tonight.
Oh, here we go.
So
it looks like we're rolling on.
Cars are on the grid now, so we're going to cut live trackside to see these guys getting ready for the race then. So they're not going to start the race just yet. They're going to do a rolling start, 2 by 2, and then they'll get going. So it's going to be very interesting to see how everybody gets on in this race. So Cedric on the pole then with Ben Bennyworth. A good qualifying from him actually in second place. Jack Ashton, one of our regulars here at Simply Race as well, lining up third with Will Dendy. A really good show from him in 4th place. Josh Valentine as well in 5th with Valentino Castro. I think he wanted to be a bit further up than 6th, but we'll see him definitely start to move up the grid, I'm sure. And as long as everybody tries to keep it clean at turn 1, we should be absolutely fine. Scott Jeffs in 7th place with Colin Talbot, our Super Race veteran in 8th. Dan Wren, Ben Brown and Rory Renner the next places up in 9th, 10th and 11th places. So get to see 3 Wren names in on the grid today. It's great to see those guys back after we haven't seen them since the back end of last year for the Endurance Series, so it's great to see those guys coming back and trying out these NASCARs this time around. And then we've got Adam Owen as well filling out that 12th spot as well, so great to see him. I think he works for Mercedes Formula 1 actually during the week, so pretty cool to see him come along and try out these cars as well. So then as we get ready for the start of the race, everybody's going to go around the right hand side of the circuit. It's going to be very close between everybody coming into the first few corners, so we've got a nice overlay of the cars. Then we're going to try and move a bit further up the grid actually to see some of the cars at the front, and we'll see how that goes from there then. So I think we're watching Jack Ashton or Valentine, who's on the inside then. I think the car's fixed on Valentine. There we go. So in the very yellow car, we'll get underway as soon as the lights go green then.
So waiting for the
Here
flag.
we go.
Should hear it. There we go.
So we are racing then for round 2 of the Simple Race Stock Car Championship. Good start from Alex Cedric, and Ashton gets in second place as well. So as the cars go through turn 1, everybody looks to get through quite cleanly. We've got a few cars in the back as well, but a very clean start from the front runners and everybody through the field, in fact. So it's great to see everybody facing the right way after 2 corners, so that's a good start. Cedric then still leading the way. Big thumbs up from Mike. He's quite happy with how everybody acted there. It's really good to see everybody so clean in the first few corners.
I think your bribe might have helped.
Absolutely, yeah. Whoever doesn't spin gets a tenner. So I'm gonna lose all my money today potentially at this rate. So Cedric then leading out the way by a second to Jack Ashton, and then comes Will Dendy. So a really good start from Will Dendy as well. We've got a battle further back. I think this is potentially it's pod number
9 and 5.
Yeah. So on the back.
We're doing really well here. Okay, so Rory and Adam.
Rory Wren and Adam Owen then, those two guys just battling it out for that 11th spot it seems. So really nice clean racing from those two guys, giving each other loads of room, being nice and tense as well. We've got Jack Ashley potentially on the grass here. Keep out the throttle, Jack. There we go, and just about saves it. So a good effort from him to just keep the car facing in the right direction, but it was a scary moment from Jack just getting on the grass there. So, but he didn't actually lose too much time to Cedric. He's still only a second back. We've got Adam Owen and Rory Wren then just going for a move. So that was Adam Owen then just right up the inside of potentially that was the other way around. So Rory Wren just overtaking Adam Owen as well. We've got Josh Valentine who's fallen right down the order. He's down in 11th spot, so he'll have to try and fight and make his way back up. So then if you have any questions or comments about the series, then get them into the YouTube feed and we'll be able to answer any questions or reply to any comments that you might have. You can see the brake just glowing on Rory Wren's car there just as he went by. So these guys are battling for 9th place then after Rory made quite a strong move up the inside of Adam Owen a few laps ago, but keeping it on the track, nicely done by him. We've got Cedric falling down the order as well, so I'm not sure what's happened to Cedric, but he's dropped back down out of the lead of the race. And Jack Ashton has taken the lead here, so we've got Scott Jeffs as well. A nice slow-mo action replay of a very pink car just going through turn 3, and Scott just losing the back end there and nearly going up on its side, but managing to recover it, but just a tiny bit too vigorous on the throttle, stopping to wait for everybody else to go by and then continuing onwards. And the timing circles on these cars are not great by any means, so it does get going again, but he's fallen back down the order. Oh no, sorry, that wasn't Jeff. Who was that? That was potentially whoever it was. Oh yeah, it was. Well, Jeff is still in 6th according to this, so we'll see anyway. He dropped down to 6th. Okay, he's made his way back up then, that's fine.
Yeah, sorry, that was a replay, apologies.
Oh, okay.
I'll get the overlay done properly next time. Sorry.
What's happening here? So then, as Cedric has fallen back down the order then, so this is going to make it quite interesting to see now how Alex can build his way up again and get back into those top positions. I think potentially that Ashton might have been for a properly good result here. He's already pulled out 4 seconds on Will Dendy, who's been chased very closely by Pod 3, which is Ben Bennion. So this is the battle for second place, and you can see Dendy in that very bright and exuberant coloured Chevrolet Camaro. So for Dendy to be up in second place already after, well, on his debut, after...
It's pretty impressive.
Very impressive. After 10-minute practice, 10-minute qualifying, he's now in P2.
To be fair, Dendy's put himself on the map right now.
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
He won. He's
got a bit of a slide on there.
Curse of the commentator.
just as we're giving him praise there, so hopefully he'll get onto that tarmac bit and he'll be okay. Yeah, so he just sorts himself out. He's got
6th. Is he going to lose a couple more places?
No, I think he'll be okay. So he's down in 6th now. Then you can hear him actually getting annoyed with himself just in the background there, out of our mic range. But yeah, it's unfortunate for him, but still he's doing okay. We've got to
dive up the inside.
Potentially move up the inside, but just sorts himself out. And I think it looks
Has he
like
just lost out?
I think Dan Wren's going to try and have a go up the inside of Colin Talbot. These guys side by side, wheel to wheels, they come through turns 4 and 5 then, I think. Yeah, so Dendy's then stayed ahead of Colin Talbot, and then Dan Wren, who we're watching at the moment in the purple car, just hangs on. But it was a very bold move there from Colin. So then as these guys come on to their 7th lap, we've still got Jack Ashton leading by 6 seconds now. So Jack's really putting in the work and trying to break away from Ben Benny, Cedric is now up to 3rd again. So after dropping down the order quite somewhat, thanks to Dendy spinning it off as well, he's moved up another place. So Cedric back into a podium position already, but still thrown away the race lead quite early on, and it did cost him quite a lot of time there. We've got a few other cars going wide, but manages to control it then. So Colin Talbot just gets a tiny bit wide, but getting away with it. But everybody's quite sensible at the moment, doing really good jobs trying to manage their tyres as best as possible towards the end of this race. It's a 45-minute race, we're only 6 minutes in, and I believe people are trying to manage it already, really.
They're a bit scared of the cars.
I think so, but you've got to man up and just go for it.
How many cars on the grid?
There's 13 on the grid.
No, I mean
in real NASCAR, I think Brand's had about 30.
32
so
NASCARs.
Yeah. So those things all complete, no ABS, no traction control, dog box where you have to flip throttle on down changes. You can clutch, but you can get away with just flipping throttle, similar to a sequential box that you would get in like a Ginetta or a standard Quake sequential box or so. But yeah, so really raw, heavy, big cars that you've got to control. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that goes this year. We've got a few cars off. I think who's that just dropping down the order? Will Dendy again. So unfortunately for Dendy, just as we were talking about him, it's all gone wrong, and he's fallen back down to 9th place. So he went up to 2nd, he's now dropped back down to 9th. He was saying to me, as the tyres get hotter during the session, it's quite difficult to control, especially if you have one spin. It will lead to another one quite quickly. So then we're watching a few cars. So this is pod number 1. So this is Valentino De Castro just getting a bit squirmy and cutting part of the track then just to try and rejoin, and then you can see Will Dendy in the background just getting all out of shape as well. So it was all happening down at turn 5 there. So yeah, is that Graham Hill? Is it? You sure? I don't think it is. We should, but I should know this really. Racing driver not knowing the corners to Brands Hatch is pretty bad. I know every single Silverstone corner, and that has like 19, 18 corners, but Brands has 5 and I don't know the names of them.
It's pretty poor.
Anyways, we're watching the scrap for, I think this is between Colin Talbot and Dan Wren. This is for 6th place then. So first of the mid-pack battles really. And these guys doing really well at the moment. You can just see a tiny bit of oversteer from Dan Wren, but getting back on throttle and doing quite a good job at controlling that car for the moment. You can see a tiny bit of wear as well in the middle of Dan's tyre there. If you're watching in 1080p, if you're not, we highly recommend it on the YouTube. Switch to the YouTube and watch it in full 1080p, which is the highest quality, and you'll be able to see every single detail that we do on our screen back here. So then, as Jack Ashton, the gap is coming down slightly. Cedric's now up in 2nd place, and will potentially switch back to the leaders for the meantime then. So pod number 2, Alex Sedgwick, we're watching on our screen at the moment then, in the green car, just lapping quite consistently now after having a tiny bit of a spin. Yep, so Bennyworth in 3rd just behind him. I think he ran a tiny bit wide there coming through.
Yeah, he lost a bit of time.
Graham Hill, yeah, so back between ways. It fluctuates quite massively on the straight because these cars are so powerful obviously, but you can see Cedric having a tiny bit of oversteer going through Paddock Hill bend, but settling the car on the way into Druids and picking up that inside curb. Obviously Cedric with a lot of experience, having racing in a lot of different championships over the years. So then who is currently just lapping, not quite sure the lap times at the moment, I think he's lapping probably in the 47s and doing a very good job. He is actually catching Jack Ashton, the race leader, so we're going to have another battle between Jack Ashton and Cedric.
Someone just went off in the background. There's another car as well as they drive past.
Number 5, I think that is potentially Adam Owen. Yeah, so Adam, really good friend of Cedric actually, lives in the same part of the country as we do, and used to go to school with Adam. So really nice guy. Works for Mercedes Formula 1 team now. So he's then having a bit of an off-track excursion, but not going too badly and regaining some time. Peter Wren is bottom of the pile at the moment in 13th place, 2 laps down, and then Adam Owen as well. So those guys struggling a tiny bit potentially with these cars, but not doing too bad considering the amount of sim racing they do in real life. So then this is a massive oversteer moment. You can see I think that's Adam going off again actually on the inside of Paddock Hill, so just not getting the car dialed in as much as he wanted to potentially. So pod number 8, this is Dan Wren at the moment that we're watching on our screen. He's 5th place at the moment, with Valentino De Castro just behind him in 6th place. Colin Talbot's dropped down the order a tiny bit as well, so he's dropped down to 9th. Not quite sure what happened to Colin, but still good racing to be had by everybody. Ashton's still got the lead for the moment from Cedric. Not sure who this is. So this is pod number 10, just going for a tiny bit of a weird spin there. That's Peter Wren, so the father of Dan and Rory Wren, just going for a tiny bit of a spin and regaining and getting back on track. So just stopping before he actually gets back on track as well, which is good to see. Not aiming to ruin anybody else's race. So then we're watching pod number 4. The very nice orange Chevrolet Camaro then going up into Paddock Hill once again, then onto the brakes. You've got to be so careful coming off the brakes on these cars with the weight transfer, but at the moment doing a very good job. I think this is Jack Ashton, in fact it is, so our race leader at the moment then, Jack Ashton in the very orange Chevrolet Camaro. He's actually keeping very honest with Cedric at the moment. The times are fluctuating quite a lot. Cedric's now out to around 7 seconds, so I think he had a bit of a nightmare down at Druids and lost some time, potentially just misbraking himself. You find that in these cars, if you brake a tiny bit too late, it ends up way too late by the time you actually get to the corner itself, and you've got to brake so early because the cars do get up to around 145 by the end of the straight. We've got another car.
This was Josh Valentine and Dan Wren battling, and then
Josh is losing the back end of the car. Just going way too. He was just way too hot into Paddock Hill. We potentially could have saved that, but it would have been a very big effort. And unfortunately, the back end just getting away from him. But he rejoins into the circle. We've got Adam Owen in as well, in for a pit stop and rejoining onto the track. So he's just potentially changed tyres as well, put some more fuel in. So we'll see how Adam gets on throughout the race and see if he can pick off any more places. So then if the gap's still fluctuating slightly, he's just getting off, I think, to get out of the way. He's been given the blue flags as he's got Scott Jess, who's now up into 4th position just ahead of him, and he goes for another small spin down at turn 3 as well. So we may hook on to another car for the meantime. Well, Adam Owen gets himself sorted out. So this is potentially a battle for... No, so we're watching Peter Wren at the moment, and then that's Scott Jeffs in the pink car just ahead of him. So we've got another replay here. This is of, I believe, I think this is Rory Wren, in fact, just going... Oh, holding on to a slide, actually, going through Paddock Hill. Did he manage to hold on to it? Oh, he got a tap from the back as well by the purple car. I'm not, I didn't quite catch who that was, but held it for the meantime, and then unfortunately got a tap from the back from another car trying to avoid him. But he gets on his way again. But it was well held from Rory there. So then we're back with, I believe this is Josh Valentine in the yellow car. So Josh currently in 8th place, just trying to sort himself out. First time in these NASCAR style cars, so just getting used to the circuit. Normally, well, you saw him compete very well, in fact, in the USSC, the United States Sprint Cup Championship that we run here at Simply Race as well in the USF cars, and he did a really good job of holding that as well. That slide, that was very good indeed. So he came away and a very strong second place in his first ever USSC race. So it's great to see Josh back here competing again at Simply Race as he goes very sideways through Paddock Hill, controls it and gets going again. I think people are struggling with overheating tyres at the moment. That's why I'm seeing quite a few spins. Still got a few back markers. We see a nice slow-mo action replay here of one car just getting a bit too eager potentially on turning. So Colin Talbot, I don't think he'll be too happy about that, unfortunately, but he's still in 10th place, so not too bad for the moment. With 30 minutes until the end of the race, 15 minutes in. So quarter of the way through, you can see the flames just spitting out the back as he tries to downshift as quickly as possible. But that was a hard hit into the barrier, unfortunately, for Colin Talbot. So then we've still got quite a few cars on the lead lap so far, so not doing too badly. We're watching pod number 1 at the moment then. This is Valentino De Castro, currently in 6th place. He's trying to chase down Dan Wren at the moment, who's moved up into 5th, so a really good showing from Dan. We've got a car in the pit lane, I think that's Colin, number 12 in fact, so that is Will Dendy. So Will Dendy in then for a stop and a change of tyres as well, so you can see the car just being perched up and the virtual crit cube that you can't really see get to work. So then, as we approach lap 21 of this race, Ashton still leads from Cedric and then Ben Bennyworth. Ben doing a really good job actually to keep Cedric honest for the moment. Ben does a bit of real life racing in his spare time. He does a bit of, I think mainly corporate karting and a bit of endurance karting as well. So it's great to see him joining us for some virtual racing here tonight at Simply Race. What are you thinking at the moment, Mike?
I think they're all preparing to change tyres because they just think they're probably destroying them at the moment.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, the track is quite rubbered up as well. I mean, we haven't seen, obviously, compared to last time we raced at Le Mans Bugatti, wasn't it? It was a very difficult track, and I think it was quite long as well. So the drivers really had to manage their tyres over a lap, whereas this is quite short. So if you want to extend your stint a tiny bit, you can actually extend it by a few laps and not just by 1 or 2 laps. You can really try and hold off pitting for as long as possible because it's such a short lap. That can help pit strategies as such as well. But we've still got Jack Ashton out in the lead at the moment, 7 seconds in front of Cedric, and Cedric doesn't, I know Cedric really does not like losing, so he's going to be trying really hard to try and close down that gap. But Jack Ashton, who also is a race driver in the MG Metro Cup, he's really impressive. He's moved over to a bit of iRacing now as well in the MX5 Championship, as Ashton's actually got it wrong somewhere. Just we keep on cursing every time we talk about the every time we talk about the drivers, they have a bit of a moment. But this is Scott Jeffs, I think. Actually, no, this isn't. This is pod number 14, which is oh no, it's Scott Jeffs. Sorry,
it is Scott Jeffs. You keep mixing him up.
I know.
I don't know why you do that.
I thought he was in pod number 8 for some reason, but he's not. It's all right. He likes the colour anyway. He told me he liked the colour of the car, so which is good news.
It was completely random. I gave anyone a car completely random, bar actually Colin.
Colin liked
did
that
decide
car.
which car he wanted earlier on in the season, so
we'll let him have it. So then, as Ashton's now on lap 23, we've only got 2.5 seconds between the leaders, so it's really close. We're watching Valentino De Castro on track at the moment, trying to chase down, I think that's Dan Wren just up ahead of him. We've also got a car smoking down the back. That's Dan Wren. That's Dan Wren. So I think he's potentially just overheating the engine a tiny bit. It's like a little choo-choo train as it goes round Brands Hatch. But
it's more to do with the tyres, I think.
Well, he's coming out of the middle of the car. It's gone now anyway, so hopefully it's alright. If your tyres are actually smoking that much, that would be quite impressive, I think, if you got them that hot. They'll be like 300 degrees. Oh no, the car's smoking again, there we go. So, as I think this is Dan Wren we're watching at the moment in the purple car. Yeah, so potentially a early downshift has done some damage, but it's only cosmetic as such. Yeah, we don't have actual physical damage on this race, mainly because of a few incidents potentially that could occur that could ruin someone's race, but if they have a small spin, I think that's penalty enough really, isn't it?
Yeah,
Get them going again. So then we've got a pretty close battle for the lead places then, so we'll try and switch to the leaders.
You say it's close, however, Jack is maintaining that 2-second gap.
He is at the moment, but it's come down, you know, since Jack's had that small, I think he might have had a small spin or something, but he's dropped down the order a tiny bit, well, dropped down in time towards Cedric. And we'll have to see how Jack tries to recover himself and get going once again. So we're just watching Dan Wren then.
Trying to find the right coloured car here, isn't it? He's in number 4, so we'll just switch to him now.
Yeah, there we go then. So we've got a few cars off actually. That's Colin, Peter Wren, Rory Wren as well, which with his smoking green car.
We'll find out if there was something that happened there.
Ashton tried to get through on all of them. We've got Cedric now that's lost quite a lot of time as well, so not sure what happened to him, but the gap's come out to 8 seconds once again. But yeah, we'll try and get a replay of what exactly happened there, but I think Colin got in a bit of a tangle with Peter Wren. So as we try and find a replay, we're just watching the race leader so far then. Jack Ashton in the orange machine, just going through Paddock Hill now. You wouldn't believe how, if you've ever seen Brands Hatch in real life, you'll believe how steep Paddock Hill is, but actually driving down it, it feels like you're driving off the end of a cliff. And it's one of the most exciting corners in British motor racing. So then we'll try and find where that incident occurred. We've got Jack really squirrely on the AstroTurf on the exit of turn 3 there. Jonathan Palmer wouldn't be very happy about that, and ruining his grass as he turns through the final corner to complete lap 26 onto lap 27. The gap's out at 9.1 at the moment, but it's fluctuating all the time. Ben Bennyworth as well, still holding on to that 3rd place, doing really well. And Dan Wren now up to 4th place with Scott Jefferson 5th. So Dan Wren at the moment, star of the show, looks to be doing all he can to try and get the Wren name back up into a podium position here at Simply Race. So then as it settles down a tiny bit, Cedric's lost a tiny bit of time once again to Jack Ashton, so I'm not sure what's happening there unless Cedric's potentially in the pit lane, but I don't think he is, as the gap's stabilised once again. We've got a few cars in the pits, so we've got pod number 10 and another car down the back there as well. I didn't quite catch the number on that car, but pod number 10 now is Peter Wren just in the pit lane. So then as Dan Wren, it's Rory Wren in this green car here, just going quite wide on the exit of turn number 5 and getting all squirreled up. He gets on his way again, and puff smoke still keep coming out the back of that car. We've got pod number 3, so Ben Bennyworth just putting a lap on him as well, so Ben doing a really good job in that red car, and still delighted about how clean the lap 1 was as well. Everybody did a really good job, so well done to everybody for keeping it nice and clean. For those of you watching this back later on, either this evening or later on in the year. So then Jack Ashton still extending that lead out to 15 seconds now, as we've got a nice replay here of Scott Jeffs just doing a bit of a slide, potentially going into the pit lane now. Well, not the right way anyway, as he slides through the last corner. I'm sure he'll get himself going once again, but I'm sure that's going to overheat his tyres somewhat, as he's trying to keep that top 5 position. So then as Scott just unfortunately again they're all wrong there. We're joining, I think this is Cedric now, into the pit lane. So Cedric stopping for potentially a new set of boots and tyres. You can see how bumpy it is in the Brands Hatch pit lane as well as the car grinds to a halt.
I was just going to say it's going to be a bit interesting now because Jack hasn't stopped yet, has he?
No, not yet, but Cedric is going to be very quick on these new tyres as well. So it's going to be very interesting. We're going to have the same situation as before. I think Jack's probably a bit more wiser to it now, whereas before he pitted right at the end and lost quite a lot of time to Cedric, who had new tyres on, was able to go a lot faster, and Jack didn't really realise until later on in the race where he had to pit. We've got a few others coming in. We've got Colin Talbot coming into the pit lane as well in 10th place, so
I think he's actually coming in for because he's actually done a pit stop already, Colin.
Okay.
So I think he might be coming in because of a drive-through for cutting the track because they're constantly going off.
Oh, right. Oh, no,
I just watched a couple of replays before that I couldn't bring up, but he was spinning that paddock hill then quite a lot.
Oh, that's a shame. So Colin's still getting used to these cars for the moment then. As we on to lap 30 now of this 45-minute race, then 20 minutes to go, and we've got Jack Ashton still leading to Ben Bennyworth by 16 seconds, but Cedric has pitted, who was in between them two, so it's going to be interesting to see now when Jack is going to choose to pick. This is going to be crucial for his championship hopes, and obviously the winner of the championship will get free tickets to the American Speed Fest at Brands Hatch, which is hosting the Euro NASCAR round 7 and 8 for this year. So it'll be great to see how anybody who wins the championship is going to enjoy that. Hopefully it's not Cedric, because he's going to be racing anyways. Cedric is into the
it's
pit
a drive-through,
again, so he's
speeding in the pit lane.
Oh no! So Cedric's got a drive through for exceeding the 80 kilometres a mile an hour. It says that. It says 80 kilometres there on the entrance, so he's only got himself to blame, and he knows it well himself because he actually drives these things in real life. So unfortunately, Sedge is spinning in the pit lane, much to the delight of Jack Ashton, I'm sure. But these cars obviously don't have pit lane speed limiters, so you have to basically drive. Have to limit the speed yourself by your own right foot, as you would in a normal car, to ensure you don't get a penalty, such as Cedric done. So Jack Ashton then looks to be quite in control of this race now, thanks to Cedric's stop. And let's see if he can try and extend his lead. We've still got, I think, Adam Owen and Peter Wren. I'm not sure if these guys have now retired from the race, because they're quite a few laps down now. They're 12 and 14 laps down, so they may have called it a day, unfortunately. But those guys, still credit for taking part. We've got 19 minutes left in the race. Lap 33, and Jack Ashton is still extending his lead over Ben Bennyworth at the moment in second place, getting a tiny bit squirrely on the AstroTurf there, but doing well to recover it. We've also got pod number 12 behind him, that's Will Dendy, who's just following him. So Will Dendy then using Jack Ashton's lines potentially. I think Will came into the pits a few moments ago, so potentially on fresh rubber as well, and looks to be lapping quite a bit quicker than Jack Ashton at the moment, so you might find a sensible spot for Will Dendy to try and unlap himself against the regular Jack Ashton. So then as they break into Paddock Hill again, we're watching Ben Bennyworth in the very red, very NASCAR-y Chevrolet Camaro then, as he comes through turn 2 into turn 3. Ben's done an absolute cracking job so far of keeping in those podium places. We've got Dan Wren now up to third as well, so even though I think these guys are still yet to pit, we've got everybody else had a pit stop so far. Jeffs Brown, Ben Brown, we haven't actually seen a lot of Ben Brown, but he's been lapping very, very consistently within the top 8. So then as Ben Bennyworth then goes on to another lap, breaking into Paddock Hill, he's doing a really good job of actually preserving the tyres and keeping the car well under control. You can see just how smooth he is on the wheel. And accelerating out once again, not a hint of oversteer or understeer edge, getting it absolutely perfect down into turn 3, and really starting to get into a rhythm with these cars, and doing a really, really good job. We've also got Valentino Castro up ahead of him in 8th place.
Just got a replay here.
Oh yeah. What have we got?
Will Dendy.
Oh, Will just dropping the back end of the car. I think
well controlled.
Yeah, nice 360. I'll give that a 7.5 out of 10. And dancing on Brands, and back he goes onto the circuit. So then as we've got, I think this is Josh Valentine in the very yellow machine then.
He's just had a stop as well.
Okay, so that's why he's down in 9th place at the moment. So we'll start to see people fluctuating, and Dan Wren actually, Jack Ashton must have made a pit stop and still come out ahead, because Dan Wren's only a second ahead of him, second behind him in fact, sorry. But so Ashton then potentially on new rubber as well, and he's 30 seconds ahead of Cedric as well. So not sure if Cedric just took one particular tyre, maybe, or just rear tyres, but still quite interested to see if Cedric can do anything about this and trying to bring back on Jack Ashton. He's now actually behind Ben Bennyworth as well. So has Jack actually made a stop yet, or is Dan Wren just... Oh no, potentially Ben Bennyworth. Oh no, Jack must have made a stop, surely. So we'll have to find out. We'll get a replay of something. Yeah, we've got quite a close battle for the lead now, actually, then, with Jack Ashton and Dan Wren, so we'll try and keep on with those guys. So Jack, we're looking for the orange car just potentially circulating. Here we are then, so we're watching Dan Wren with Jack Ashton just ahead of him. I'm pretty sure Dan Wren didn't expect to be as high up as second on his debut in the Super Race Stock Car Championship. So then as these guys circulating around Sector 1, we've got 15 minutes left on the clock, and it's getting quite tasty down here at Super Race. So Jack Ashton then leading just to Dan Wren, and it's really close indeed. You can see Dan in this very purple car with Jack just up ahead of him in the orange car. So as Dan gets a tiny bit of a wiggle going through the final corner, but gets the power down and accelerates out once again. So following Jack Ashton, then maybe trying to learn something off Jack to try and increase his speed on the circuit. We've got Ben Bennyworth as well in third place, and those two guys, Ben and Sedgwick, will be having a right scrap as well, so we may switch to these guys just further back with the red and green cars. So they're just up ahead, I think this is Will Dendy who we're watching at the moment, but Sedgwick has actually made a move past Ben Bennyworth for third place. We just missed that out of shot, unfortunately, but still Sedgwick then, as you can see it on here, made the move past Ben Bennyworth, still yet to pit, I think, as well, Ben, so probably still managing the tyre and fuel to try and get to the end of the race. But Sedgwick's doing a really good job at the moment. You can see he's putting in some very quick times and trying to bring that gap down to the race leader. Dan Wren also, I think, is in the pit lane. Yes, so Dan Wren coming in for his stop as well. But a really good effort from Dan, as Sedgwick gets a massive oversteer moment going up onto the curbs on Paddock Hill, but manages to recover it quite well. So then as Sedge getting on the power once again, then he's back up to second place, but he's 30 seconds down on Jack Ashton. And let's see if... I'm not sure if Jack's pitted yet, I just don't know at the moment. I know Sedgwick had a drive through, so that has cost him some time. But we saw Dan Wren move all the way up to Jack Ashton in second place. Unless Jack had a massive moment, I'm pretty sure he didn't, because he's now still 28 seconds ahead of Sedgwick. So we'll have to find out how that goes. At the moment we're watching Josh Valentine, and who's that's... Yeah, I think that's Raw. No, that is Dan Wren, in fact. So Dan just coming out of the pit lane. Then so Josh Valentine then just unlapping himself actually against Dan Wren. So he's now on the same lap again, but Josh Valentine now down in 9th place, and he's going to have a tasty little battle with Valentino Nicastro, I think, which will be his next victim. So he's just got pod 11 ahead of him as well, so that's Colin Talbot, who's down in 10th place. So Colin then potentially struggling a tiny bit with these cars, just trying to keep it as smooth as possible. So watching Colin then just going through Sector 2 with Dan Wren just behind him in the 8 car. So Dan Wren doing the best out of all of them for the moment then, in terms of the Wren boys managing his tyres and his fuel, and doing a really cracking job. Just pitting, he's now in 4th place, so potentially a podium for him today if he can keep it on the road and potentially challenge Ben Bennyworth in the later stages of this race. It's still Ashton that leads from Sedgwick, Ben Bennyworth and Dan Wren. Scott Jeffs still in that top 5. I think he's struggling a tiny bit out there at the moment, just trying to keep the car on track. Word has it that he did go out in Nottingham last night, so I think he's a bit hard-headed today, unfortunately. But still enjoying it nonetheless. And thanks to him for coming down as well. Scott then, another driver who's done a lot of real-life racing. He raced in TCM for many years, the karting series, and then went up to the Mini Cooper Challenge as well. So he's been competing in the Mini Challenge for the last few years as well. We can actually see
Scott Jeff spinning
tiny
again
bit,
in the background.
Every time we mention he's having a tiny bit of a spin.
He's not going to be happy with you.
No, absolutely. He's still running in 5th place though, so quite impressive from Scott. We've got Ben Benioff as well, just going a tad wide there in the red car. But Ben,
he's doing well,
so far, hasn't put a foot wrong this whole race. Everybody else has had at least a tiny bit of a moment or a spin, as we can see here. Oh, just managing to cover it. I think that was Peter Wren, potentially. Number 12, no, Will Dendy. Peter and Will Dendy and Colin have similar liveries. I think they're like different style, but they almost look the same. So as we're watching the cars, then we're watching Dan Wren as well. Scott's not having it today. As he reverses the track as well, just in front of Cedric, who's going to be his teammate this year in Elite 1. So I don't think Cedric would have been quite happy about that. But he had to be fair, he had to reverse to get out of that situation. But Sedge then still putting in some really impressive times. But Jack Ashton's keeping him honest. The gap will close up, I'm pretty sure of it. But how close it's going to be towards the end of the race, it's starting to split now a tiny bit, as Jack Ashton's still managing his pace really, really well. Jack's done an insane job so far.
So consistent.
Yeah, as we saw in round one as well. It's really, really consistent.
I think Team Excite might be watching at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's probably more used to iRacing on this, when the tyres overheat on iRacing. It's like ice, and these cars are quite similar to that. So I think probably he's taken some skills out of iRacing, which has actually got Cedric there going quite slowly. So Cedric and Bennyworth, potentially we're going to have a battle for third place here on the second screen that you have in the right hand corner of your screen. So Cedric then in the green car and Ben Bennyworth in the red then. So Cedric unfortunately having a bit of a moment, and Ben Bennyworth is going to try and capitalise on that, but he's got Valentino De Castro between these two in the blue car. So Valentino's in 5th place at the moment, so I think Scott's had a bit of a nightmare 2 laps and dropped down to 7th place. We're watching Valentino now, so moving up the order once again up into 5th.
He's done well, actually.
Bit more like where we see him, to be fair.
He struggled with the car earlier in practice.
He enjoyed it though, he told me he really enjoyed it. But
he just was.
Yeah. He just got onto the grass there on the exit, unfortunately got spun round, so that was his own doing. Unfortunately he just got onto the grass and rotated the car, but gets underway again, and he's dropped down to 7th place now. So those 2 places he just made up, unfortunately he's dropped back down again. That moves Will Dendy and Scott Jeffs up, and we've got a quite tasty little battle actually here. Scott Jeffs again. Scott isn't having a good day. I think he's got a pretty hard head from last night, so we'll say no more about it. Dan Wren at the moment in 4th place in that purple car. He's lapping really, really consistently for his first race here in the Super Race Stock Car Championship. And then Ben Bennyworth as well. Credit to all the drivers for taking part today and doing a really, really good job out on track. Our next race will be at Hockenheim as well, so there's another very, very interesting circuit to these drivers, and these cars will pretty much be topping out as well. So those guys will be hitting around 160 miles an hour down the back straight at Hockenheim, so really, really good track. And of course, if you want to get involved, then just search for the championship on the Facebook page then, so it's Super Race Stock Car Championship, and you'll be able to see all the upcoming events and all the prizes that you get for potentially winning the championship and one-off races as well. So then as we watch Ben Bennyworth then in the later stage of this race, 7 minutes to go. Jack Ashton on lap 47. And how many laps are we going to get out of this? We potentially may get about 55, I imagine. So quite a lot of laps done around the Brands Hatch circuit today for everybody to try and improve their racecraft in these very, very tricky Xfinity / kind of Euro NASCAR cars. We will potentially as well, I haven't really talked to Mike about this yet, but potentially having an oval race, a one-off oval race, potentially sometime this half of this year, so keep your eyes peeled for that, as we've got a very sideways, I think that's Rory Wren there, just getting it all wrong and into the barriers coming up to, that was a very long
I was just about to say, he caught that.
He did. He's very good at catching slides and then just about losing them afterwards. So it's very close in fact to Josh Valentine as well. But Josh
to Josh there.
Yeah, he actually took the correct line anyway. So he dived to the inside and very well done. You can see how much Rory's car's smoking out the back. That's a bit unfortunate for the two retirees we have as well, Adam Owen and Peter Wren. Adam Owen was doing really well at the start of this race actually. It's a shame to see him just drop down the order ever so slightly. So then Jack Ashton then looking like he's going to take his first win of the Simply Race Stock Car Championship.
So this is Sedgwick and Bennyworth from around Druids.
Yep, so we're on board with Ben Bennyworth then. As you can see, he's going up to third gear and then back down second again. You can see how smooth he's being on the wheel as well. You don't need to drive these cars potentially hard. You know, you think you have to muscle these cars around, but you really got to drive, as you can see by Ben Bennyworth, with your fingertips and just be really, really smooth, braking in a nice straight line, feeding the power in very slowly. Tiny bit, not even a hint of oversteer there before getting back on the throttle. So you can see how smooth he's driving and how smooth you have to be with these cars. We'll watch him through Paddock Hill as well onto the brakes. You can see him drop down into third gear, being really patient on the throttle, opening it up again. You see, that's how you do it. This is how you do it, everybody.
Sedgwick's over driving.
Absolutely. So everybody who's struggling with these cars, just take note. Have a look at this on board here, and you can see how well he's going to bin it now, isn't he? As we're saying this, Ben Bennyworth then doing a really cracking job and just being super smooth and catching up to the back of Sedgwick as well. You'll be able to see him in his mirrors and see how smooth Ben's being on the wheel. And I think driver of the day has to go to Ben at the moment, from me anyway. But you can see just how smooth he's being with the car. And your tyre wear would hardly be going down anyway when you're driving around so smoothly. So it's interesting to see everybody actually taking a bit of a wider line going through, because normally you hug that always we've got Scott. Potentially Scott Scott's actually got onto the grass to get out of the way of Ben Bennyworth there. Go on you, Scott. So as
Alex has a dive,
trying to get past, I think that's pod number 11, which is Colin Talbot. Yeah, so Colin just potentially getting in the way of Ben Bennyworth as well, so struggling a tiny bit with traffic now as these two guys fight it out for second place. But Ben Bennyworth doing an absolutely amazing job at keeping that car on track. Tiny bit of oversteer coming into this corner, but manages to correct it. Nicely done, and gets the power on again. In real life, the Euronav cars only rev to 6,000 RPM, but these ones rev to 9 in these Xfinity cars, obviously, because they're used to doing the bigger circuits such as Talladega. Cedric has a massive oversteer moment, but managed to compose himself and get going once again. But that has brought Ben Bennyworth closer to him. But it looks like Jack Ashton at the moment is going to be the one potentially taking the checkered flag here today. He's doing quite an incredible job so far at just maintaining his pace, maintaining the lead of the race. And that's hard to put a foot wrong at all with Jack Ashton. Maybe a few oversteer moments, but apart from that, doing an absolute cracking job and really getting the hang of these NASCARs. So then Dan Wren as well, for his first ever attempt here at the Simply Race Stock Car Championship. He's done a really good job up into fourth place, as has Will Dendy and Josh Valentine, sorry, because we've got Valentino De Castro and Josh Valentine, so quite similar names there. Whereas you put him in Valentina earlier.
Yeah, apologies. But I was going to say Valentine there.
But Josh Valentine then, yeah, to be fair to him, he's done a superb job. He's played a good job for his debut here in the Simply Race Stock Car Championship. And Valentino De Castro and Scott Jeffson. Scott's actually his first time racing in this championship as well. So great to see him practicing.
Ben Brown, have we?
Ben Brown, he's
remained under the radar.
He has, like the whole time. He hasn't been near the battles of Finn, to be honest. He's had a bit of a lonely race. Ben Brown, he was up in fifth place at one point, so really good showing from him, and he signed on to the championship a few days ago as well, so great to see him joining us for this round.
That is
we've got 2 minutes to go, and Jack Ashton then, I think we're actually going to do 55 laps. I did say 55 laps, so if we did have a chance. Oh, hello, we've got Scott Jeffs just being muscled out there, I think, by Colin Talbot for
they're not about the position.
No, they're not, but they're a lap between each other, but they're still in 8th and 9th, so Scott potentially trying to put another lap on Colin, but Colin's having none of it, rightly so. as we can see potentially Josh Valentine going slightly wide there, did he? Oh no, he manages to regain it, so I think that was a bit of a massive slide as he got onto the grass. And we've also got pod number 12.
Will Indy going for another pirouette.
Yeah, just having a bit of a spin in 5th place. He doesn't want to lose that 5th position just yet. I think we're going to get 2 more laps out of this. We've got 1 minute to go. Jack Ashton then still in the lead of this race and looking to take his first win in the Simple Race Stock Car Championship.
Oh, here we go.
And we've got a nice little battle here for 2nd place then. So we've got Ben Bennyworth on the back of Alex Sedgwick, and it's going to be a right old battle royale to the finish. So let's see what Ben Bennyworth can do. I think he's gone wide, but he's got a good exit, and Sedgwick then potentially having a bit of trouble with his tyres. Ben was so close to getting a wheel on the grass there, but coming up towards Paddock Hill, what's going to happen then is Ben Bennyworth potentially trying to make a lunge up the inside. Sedgwick's defending into Paddock Hill, but gets a good run on the exit as well, so keeps the momentum for the moment. Sedgwick then into the braking zone again. He's gone quite deep on the corner, and that's allowed Ben Bennyworth to try and just muscle past, but Ben gets a massive oversteer moment as a result, and Sedgwick then going back in 2nd place after potentially losing it. We've got 1 second remaining, so there we go. And Jack Ashton then is on his final lap, and these guys will have 1 more lap to complete. Jack Ashton then pretty much led from the start after Sedgwick had a bit of a moment, and has dominated this race ever since. He's done a superb job to manage his fuel and tyre wear all the way to the end, and it's going to be a great first win for him in the round 2 of the Simple Race Stock Car Championship, 2nd round of a 4-part series. And Jack Ashton then, the man from just up the road, is going to come through to win round 2 of the Simple Race Stock Car Championship here at Simple Race. So extremely well done to Jack Ashton, a deserving win against some of the best, well, highest ranked NASCAR drivers, Euro NASCAR drivers in the country at the moment. We're watching Sedgwick then, who's going to come through to finish in 2nd place, and Ashton finally spinning after the flag at least. So
that means he doesn't have to pay. You don't have to pay him then?
No, I don't. So it's absolutely fine. I didn't actually tell anybody about that. So
did you not?
No, I'm not wasting my money. So I did have a bet with Mike, but I didn't allow everybody else to partake in it. There's Josh. Well, I think he's just trying to do some spins and some donuts now. So Sedgwick crosses the line as well and crashes into Paddock Hill. Ben, I think everybody's just having a bit of fun now and messing about. But well done to Sedgwick and Ben Bennyworth as well. Everybody's going everywhere in this last part of the race. And Dan Wren as well, who actually got back up onto the lead lap on the end of it. So well done to Dan Wren and Will Dendy as well for our top 5. So that was round 2 then of the Simple Race Stock Car Championship live here at Simple Race. Join us back soon. We'll be doing the podium presentations very, very shortly. So join us for that. And thanks very much for watching.
We'll try that again. Hello, guys. Thank you for watching the stream. Hopefully you guys watching enjoyed that. Probably more than some of the drivers nearer the rear of the grid did. It's a little bit of chaos at the start of the race, but it did calm down as we went on. And I only had to give one penalty out today, which is very good, but they waited until the very last lap to make that happen. So thank you, everyone, for clean racing. Hopefully, yeah, just hope everyone enjoyed it. So we're going to go straight on to the podium ceremony. So in third place was Ben Bennyworth, just missing out on second place. Big round of applause for Ben. That's it. In second position was Alex Sedgwick. So big round of applause to Alex. And after an absolutely dominant drive, it must be said, lead of nearly 30 seconds. Big round of applause, please, for Jack Ashton winning the race. Okay, guys, so just a big round of applause for our top three again for us, please. As Callum's just going to take a quick photo for the social media. Fantastic. So thank you guys very much for watching again. Hopefully we'll see you again for the next stock car race, which is in Hockenheim. It is. So hopefully we'll see you then. Just again, big thanks to the drivers and big thanks for watching at home. We will see you next time.